Double fault.
It is time. Merge with me.
Love 40.
Yes, just as the prophecy foretold. Every nerd dreads having to talk about professional sports in any context, but hopefully I can make it sound like I know what I'm talking about here. The PlayStation launched in North America with 2 sports games on September 9th, 1995. One of them is a port of a popular arcade game, and it's pretty good. The other is, by far, the worst game in the PS1's launch lineup. We'll get to that thing in a bit. Let's get the good stuff out of the way first. NBA Jam Tournament Edition is a PlayStation port of developer Midway's 1993 arcade game featuring real-world basketball teams and players. NBA Jam expands on concepts introduced in Midway's 1989 arcade basketball game Arch Rivals, featuring 2-on-2 action in a horizontally scrolling court. Like Arch Rivals, NBA Jam takes the basic rules of basketball and twists them for a fast-paced, aggressive take on the sport. Defense involves sticking closely to your opponents and shoving them around until they drop the ball. Once you have possession, you need to zip over to the opposite side of the court to get a shot off quickly and with as little resistance as possible. Arch Rivals was already pretty over the top, but NBA Jam goes into cartoonish territory with high-flying dunks, a turbo button that gives your players a speed boost, and running commentary from an over-caffeinated announcer. One of the game's most notable features was that it included digitized player likenesses, in addition to their real names and team affiliations. Player faces were captured and then pasted onto in-game character models for a distinctive graphic style, and the game included a big head cheat code that made matches even more ridiculous looking. The console versions of NBA Jam TE even included a mammoth head mode that actually makes the game much harder to play. NBA Jam Tournament Edition was launched as an upgrade kit in arcades in 1993, improving on the base game with an expanded roster and new mechanics like substitutions and player fatigue. It also added a tournament mode that disabled the original NBA Jam's controversial computer assistance feature, which gave the losing team an advantage in the middle of a match if their opponent pulled too far ahead in points. This was an arcade game, remember, so it needed to keep games close, so as to encourage players to spend more quarters. NBA Jam was popular in its time, and it was ruthless in its demand for cash in arcades, charging each player additional credits between every period of a 4-quarter game. Home ports then were in huge demand, and publisher Acclaim's adaptations for the Super NES and Sega Genesis were big sellers. But the game's reliance on digitized visuals and speech made it difficult to port to 16-bit consoles, and most adaptations came up short with tiny players, limited animation, and repetitive commentary. Of the many console ports available, the PlayStation and Sega Saturn versions of NBA Jam Tournament Edition are probably the best. The characters are large and detailed, the commentary is all there, and the action is pretty much spot on. If you were disappointed with the 16-bit versions of NBA Jam, the PlayStation port is a massive improvement. Along with Ridge Racer, NBA Jam Tournament Edition established the PlayStation as a very capable machine when it came to ports of modern arcade games. This isn't to say that the PlayStation version of NBA Jam TE is perfect, though. Supposedly in the rush to meet the PlayStation's launch, a bug slipped through that reversed the difficulty settings in the options menu. Put it on the easiest setting and you'll get wrecked by super difficult computer teams. Though, honestly, I didn't fare much better with the other difficulty settings. The computer plays really aggressively in this version, no matter which difficulty you choose, making it hard to keep possession for more than a few seconds at a time. Of course, this doesn't really matter if you're playing a full 4-player game. NBA Jam TE was the first PS1 game to support the PlayStation Multitap, an accessory available at the console's launch in North America. It featured 4 controller ports and 4 memory card slots, letting all players load their own individual save data and stats. This was actually a pretty convenient solution in its time, since the 16-bit versions of NBA Jam locked player stats to a single cartridge's battery backup. The PlayStation's memory card allowed players to transport their save data across multiple copies of the game, making it easy to set up multiplayer sessions away from home. The PlayStation version of NBA Jam Tournament Edition also featured a whole bunch of codes, secrets, and hidden characters, letting you compete in some pretty weird matchups. Here you can see the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air himself, Will Smith, taking on then US First Lady Hillary Clinton. Man, Hillary got some moves. Early revisions of the original arcade version of NBA Jam TE went into even stranger territory with codes that unlocked characters from Midway's gory digitized fighting game Mortal Kombat. The NBA apparently wasn't too happy about having a bunch of playable serial killers in its game, so the Mortal Kombat characters were dropped for Tournament Edition's home ports. So, I've spent a lot of time talking about NBA Jam, but I can't delay the inevitable any longer. This is the other sports game available for the PlayStation's 1995 launch in North America, Power Serve 3D Tennis. Ugh. We'll take a look at that in the next episode. See you then.